What's up, guys? Welcome to an amazing and unusually productive upper body workout. I followed the protocol, but this was just one of those days where it felt good. I felt strong, I felt healthy, fit, not shit, not beaten into the ground, not terrible, no self-pity. It was just a good day. So it wasn't even mid, it was good. So I'm very happy. Today's objective was, among other things, to max out on the floor press. Now, I was debating whether if I should go with 102.5 or 100, and since I overshot my deadlift yesterday and failed a rep, I simply added too much weight too quickly, I decided to go for 100, and unless it felt extremely easy, I will keep it there. So this is a 100 kilo floor press PR. I've never gone heavier than this on this exercise, but this is around the 4th time I've done this in my life. However, my floor press is usually around only 2.5 kilos behind my regular bench press, meaning my bench press max is at least 102.5 kilos on this day, probably 105 on a fairly regular good day. So that makes me very happy, and it's evident why. This is why. I'm closing in on 3 sets of 10 with 70% of 100 kilos, or I don't know, 67, 68% of 102.5. However, I'm moving the weights really fucking fast. The goal here is really to rep this out with good pauses and extremely explosive concentric reps. That's how we really build that explosiveness and power off the chest. The best way to build, let me think here, speed strength or strength speed, I don't know which one this is, but building, the best way to get fast with heavyweights is to be fast with heavyweights. Train that. Some nice music here.
Look at this motherfucker.
Look at this motherfucker. Yeah. Going in here with the third set, I decided to go with 9 reps. My goal here is, as you guys know, to add 1 rep per workout. I could add faster, but I'm not going to. I will make videos on this in the future when I've proven the concept of milking your gains. You don't want to just add reps or sets necessarily every single time you can possibly do so, because when you progress things too fucking fast, your body can't keep up, and then you will stagnate or plateau or regress. What you want to do in many cases, in my opinion, is make sure the progressive overload is slightly slower than what you can actually manage, and kind of extend it a bit further instead. Meaning, yeah, I could get to 110 kilo bench press in 2 weeks if I really peaked for it, but that's not the goal. The goal is 140 by the end of the year. What's the best way to get to 140? That's a different conversation. It doesn't require peaking, it requires building my base strength. And we're in the gym to build strength, not demonstrate it. Forgot who the original quote was from, unfortunately, but I've heard it in the online fitness community. It's a fantastic quote, and it really is all about doing things that are hard and difficult and that make you feel weak, because those are the things that are going to build a lot of strength. For example, on my lower days, I'm doing good mornings. On these days, I'm doing bicep curls with perfect form, which makes me feel very weak. But, my biceps are going to explode. I feel them so much, they're getting so much stronger, and it's evident on these pull-ups as well, as you can see here. Now, today I was slightly lighter than planned. I think I was 83.7 or something along those lines as a waking up body weight. So I'm a bit behind on the bulk. However, it really helped me on the pull-ups today. I did a great 3 sets of 10 on those. No issues whatsoever. Moving on, overhead press. I'm doing 47.5. These are actually a lot more challenging than I would give them credit for, to be honest. These really hit my upper traps a lot, and my delts, and my triceps, but mainly the upper traps I feel are the limiting factor on these. It could be a work capacity issue, it could be a strength issue. I believe it's just, straight up, I need more mass up there. So the only way to build that is, more reps, more volume, more weight. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So 2 sets of 10 plus the last set was 9 reps, just as on the benching. Now, when I get to 3 sets of 10 with 50 kilos, which should be in around 3.5 weeks or so, I do believe I'll have that 70 kilo seated overhead press PR in the bag. However, I will build these a little bit more before I test my max overhead press, because we don't want to max out on lift so often that we fail to hit new PRs. I mean, that doesn't really, it doesn't feel a good psychological purpose. The only purpose you would really do that for, it is for the purposes of maxing out as a training stimulus. But in that case, I'd much rather do a new exercise for a kind of a more novel training response. Basically max out on another overhead press or bench press variation. I believe this is the last set right here. It seems that I'm pressing the weights oftentimes a bit too far in front of my body, and towards the end of the sets I'm really trying to press the weight actually over my head instead, and I actually overshot it here on this last rep. That was the second last, yeah. Boom. Almost fell backwards. That was actually quite scary. And you know, that's the danger of overhead pressing without back support. So far I have never fallen over backwards while doing overhead presses like that, but it could happen. So you need to stay disciplined, stay on top of things. I don't have a power rack. I do have the money for it, but I'm too stubborn. I don't want to buy one until I absolutely need one. I'm quite frugal, so unless it presents me a major safety concern, I'll keep this minimalist setup up here in the attic, but it is slightly dangerous in certain situations. Bent over rows right here. I usually did pendlay rows, but I figured I want the exercise that is the reverse of a bench press, and this is the reverse of a bench press. The only difference is I'm using a slight bit of leg drive, which is involuntary. It's very difficult not to, as I'm using a weight which is closing in on my own body weight. And also just have general fatigue and things like that. Anyway, bent over rows are fucking good. Very, very serious, good bodybuilding exercise. I really feel my entire back on them, especially the last few reps. I don't feel the specific muscles per se, but I just feel my back fatiguing, and the last 3 or 4 reps just drastically becoming way more difficult to touch my chest on. So yeah, bent over rows are amazing. I'll continue to do them for a while, probably the entire year to be honest, and the goal really is just keep the bent over row at the same level of my bench press, balance out that upper body, build the upper back to the same degree I'm building the chest, so I don't become one of these fucking hunchback orcs. I just want to be a regular orc, don't want to have the hunchback thing going on. Boom, barbell curls. Guys, I'm doing these extremely strict. Yes, I'm moving my upper body slightly, but look at the bottom position. I'm flexing my triceps every single time and I'm not touching my legs. I'm doing this purposely. This puts a lot of pressure, not in a negative way, but it does put a lot of pressure through the bicep tendon, and it really builds strength out of the very bottom of the curl, which oftentimes is skipped, ignored, left out, or simply cheated through. I am doing the bottom portion of the rep very, very purposely to build that tendon strength and that bottom end strength, which I will employ when I hit my one-arm chin-up. It will happen. It's going to happen in 2024 after this very long bulk. After cutting down, after building all of this strength, the goal is to chin up my own body weight with a single arm, actually on both arms, obviously on different occasions. And one of the prerequisites to be able to one-arm chin-up is not only to have strong lats, but also to have strong biceps. And for me, the one-arm chin-up has always been way more difficult towards the bottom. Like literally the first couple centimeters, the first few degrees of arm bend are by far the most difficult. And 90 degrees and up, in the past, I've actually been able to do, from 90 degrees and then upwards, the one-arm chin-up, but the bottom half of the rep was what got me. So yeah, but at that time I was around 5 to 7 kilos lighter than I am now, so the more I bulk, the more difficult the one-arm chin-up will be. So my goal is build a lot of strength now and focus on one-arm chin-ups later. I mean, I think it's silly to try to hit the one-arm chin-up now that I'm bulking harder than I ever have, pretty much. So I don't want to do that. I think that's a high risk of injury to really work on that exercise. Rather just work on, my curls, my forearms, and my regular pull-ups, working on, maxing out with weights instead, using maybe a slightly variations that don't really tax the shoulders and the elbows and the wrists to the quite same extent. And then when I cut, I can go a bit harder on those variations that are more dependent on strength to weight ratios. Anyway, forearm work, I'm taking this very seriously. All of my arm work today, I wanted to say this, my arm work is really fucking effective. I'm doing one single set on each thing, and I have no proof of my arms growing yet. I would almost like to say it's visible. Look at this. This is a pump, yes, but my forearms are getting stronger, slowly but surely. Biceps and triceps are getting stronger quite quickly. And I do believe in just a few weeks or months, you guys will actually see quite a big difference in my biceps, triceps, and forearms, basically my entire arms. I'm really working them specifically. I've never done that before, just like with this neck work. I'm actually super excited to see how all these little muscles will help my overall physique and my performance, both of them. Because you have the performance guys that only care about what their body can do, and they don't care if they look like shit. And then you have bodybuilders who are really anal about how they look, and can't perform, can't run up a hill, can't fight, can't move, and they're useless pretty much, and they're injury prone. So we want to, be balanced, we want to be athletic, we want to look athletic as well, and be athletic, obviously. And also have invisible traits like flexibility, mobility, and cardiovascular conditioning. These things aren't visible, but we need to train them nonetheless. And it's the same thing with, smaller muscles, like having strong fingers, having strong, a strong neck. People maybe won't think of these muscles a lot unless you really overdevelop them. But they are very important because, every single person who's ever been in a car crash will tell you, they wish their neck was stronger. You can get paralyzed if you have a weak neck. It's fucking dangerous, guys. So take care, and I'll see you guys on Monday.